Fluxus. We are here from the press office of Tallinn Black Night Film Festival, and we are really happy of being here and glad to have some guests from the first feature competition, and especially lucky because these films are going to be premiered tonight. So we are now like talking live, but if you are watching us, you will be on time for checking these films out. And we have guests from the films Summer Children and Neurotic Quest for Serenity. I'm going to start with the person who is closer to me and also from the country who is closer to us, also another country. It's a co-production between Iceland and Norway, but actually it's settled in Iceland. And I think this is one of the, most emotive films and sensible films in the competition. And not only because there are two kids leading the film, but besides there are two kids on the main roles, I think it's not a kids film. I mean, it's not a film for children. I think it's more like a family film.
Yeah, that's correct. That's correct. It's a family film. It can also be for children because it's kind of told in two levels. There are things that are not very clear for the younger, and it doesn't matter because they have the imagination that the main children, well, that takes on their life so for them to survive. So that part is really appealing for the younger children, but it is for both. Grown-up like it also, because it's also their story. It's based on times when children were sent away in Iceland to some places where they were not loved because of some problems at home or whatever difficulties they had. And those kids are survivors.
Okay. Things of being live, I forgot to introduce our guest. So we have here Gudrun Ragnarsdottir introducing her first feature and talking about children and about the settle of the film. I think it's also a historical film because it's
period.
Yeah, it's a period film. Yeah. And even being a period film, we see the children really empowering the film, taking the lead, no?
Oh yeah, they're very, very good. It took time to find the right children, but we actually found the main character, the girl, who was the leading character very early. But there's two groups of kids, the kids who are at this place permanently, who don't have any place to go to. And then there are the kids who are sent there during the summer, who have the hope of going home. So they were supposed to be older, and summer children, younger. So I wasn't sure if we would all pull it off to work with that young kids. So I had an older group.
Okay.
But in the end, we realized she was the best, the main character. So I hope you will see that later tonight.
So it was a long process to find them?
It was a long process to decide, really.
Okay.
For me to feel comfortable about it and see if the kids had the strength to pull it off.
Yeah, because they take the whole picture of the...
Yeah, and which they do. Well, in the end, of course, it was exciting in the beginning. They did get tired, and then they were very right on it. They just said, I don't want to be any longer in this film. And the boy said, cut.
Well, that is also telling we don't want to spoil it, but it's telling something about the film. It's a certain moment they want to quit. Well.
Yeah, sure. But of course they didn't want to stop.
Okay.
That was just one day, and they got tired.
There is also, now that we are going deep on the story of the film, I mean, you feel the whole storytelling really realistic, and you feel like, besides being carry on the story with the kids, because they take you by the hand and bring you there and so on, there is some small details of fantasy, and sometimes it switch with it mixed with the reality.
Yeah.
So we are in front of some Grimm brothers story in a way.
Kind of. It's what I was saying earlier. That's what kids do to survive, because the heart of the story is really that children should be where they are loved. Of course, we all should be, right?
Sure.
but particularly kids. So that's the heart of the story. So if they're not loved, they find their way, or they imagine things to survive. All kind of things. Yeah.
So it was difficult when you put the story together to mix the fantasy elements. Or we let audience to discover themselves.
Of course, there was I was thinking, how far should we go, and how much does it cost, or how are we going to do it? So, but there is also like these folk stories in Iceland. There's old stories about, like that the landscape comes alive. You see things. If you're alone in the wilderness and you're afraid, you start to imagine things, and just a little sound might scare you. So that's the atmosphere I worked from.
Yeah, actually, I can think that landscape in the film is just another character.
Right. Yeah.
And how was the location made it? I mean, you were also casting the location for...
Yeah, well, of course, it's cost a lot of money to have 14 children, and then their families would have had to go with them, far away from Reykjavik, where we all live. So we tried to find a location close to the city. And we found pretty much most of the location in an hour drive. So that was very important. So it's all very close to Reykjavik. So yeah, I was very happy we could do that. It took time though.
This is gonna be the premiere of the film?
Yeah.
So, which is your expectation?
I'm just so excited. I'm so happy that we were invited to this festival, really. And I'm like deeply honored. Thank you.
What do you think the audience will think?
I have no idea. I just look forward.
It seems like children looking for love or looking for what they deserve. It's like a current topic in contemporary cinema. I mean, we can think in this summer of '93 film that recently won in Berlinale, and some other, we have another film about kids in this same competition as well. So, why do you think we are like raising up this special topic?
Well, I think the generation, it's kind of a question of when we are ready to look back and kind of realize that how this time was and the way of thinking and what was looked at as normal and now we are like more open for
speaking out loud of we have inside.
Yeah,
maybe?
Sure, and also how we treat children.
Okay.
It was like before that, like children were not people until they became like, I don't know, teenagers or something. It's like today they have their voice more. At that time, they did not have a voice.
Okay.
So it takes time for a generation to look back and see it. And of course, it takes time to make a film. And this film was written many years ago. So it takes time to find money and people who are willing to do it with me.
Yeah. Recently, we had this International Day of Children, so it seems like a proper time for release, for premiering the film. Yeah. So, loads of luck for tonight.
Thank you very much.
I think the audience will love it and will fall totally in love with not only with the children, but with the Icelandic summer, which you can survive there when it's in summer. And from one island in the middle of the ocean, we jump the ocean all the way to Brazil. And we go to if Summer Children was really a specific and descriptive film, I think your title is even more. Neurotic Quest for Serenity, which I would like to hear it in Portuguese, please.
Hello. Our title in Portuguese is very different. It's called TOC, Transtornada Obsessiva Compulsiva, which refers to obsessive compulsive disorder, which is a disease that the character is going through, but is not the center of the film. It's not what the film is about. It was, I think, this is our international premiere, and I think here for this premiere, we tried maybe our more, let's say, more genuine title that refers more to the story. The first, in Portuguese, it was more, maybe it was more of a commercial approach, because the film we did, this is an indie film, that we tried to do it a very experimental film and a different kind of comedy. But we also try to fit it into this very popular demand for comedies in Brazil, which is the most popular genre. But we didn't like, me and the other director and the crew, and Daniel, who's the actor of the film, and we don't really identify with most of these very popular comedies. So we try to do something that we find funny in many different ways. So it ended up being a more personal film. But I think this title is more genuine because it's about the pursuit for happiness and well-being that this character is looking for, and maybe the comedy is that she can never find it, not materially or not through success. It's just how difficult it is to fit this demand for well-being into your own life, and even more into a film, into 90 minutes, just to try to have a character overcome something and just solve his whole problem, and then the movie ends. Our movie is also about how it's never going to end, this hole inside us. But we're trying to treat it as a comedy, maybe, just to laugh at, at life's unfairness, and not unfairness, just unbalance, maybe.
As you see, Gudrun, we are all looking for love. In the end, both films are about the same. So, and for not breaking traditions, I didn't introduce our guest filmmaker again. So we have here Teodoro Poppovich, one of the filmmakers, because you made this film in 4 hands.
Yes, with Paulinho Caruso, he's my partner, and he's coming for the interview. And this is Daniel Furlan, he's the actor of one of the actors of the film, of the main characters.
Bienvenido. Welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah, actually, now that we make a review of the mark between both titles and why you change these titles, and actually defines a lot of what we and maybe you expect from the film, which is like how a comedy from Brazil will be received in a country like in Estonia or Nordic countries in general.
Sure.
I mean, we have already like some, I mean, last year we have another film from Brazil.
Sure.
Also pretty peculiar in our competition, Holy Motors. I know Holy Motors, Holy Biker.
Holy Biker, okay.
Yeah, which was a mix between...
Last year.
Yeah.
Sure, yeah.
Between like Mad Max with a motorbike and comedy and Holy Believers and so on. So, and we were kind of reluctant of how the audience will take it. And this is
another test.
Second round.
Second round for the Estonian audience. Okay, yeah. Well, I'm more curious than you are how they're going to receive it, because we didn't. I think when we made it, we put everything we had in it, and we tried to make something different, or just something that we find funny, which is like a very broad spectrum, because there are different kinds of. Our movie has a lot of improvisation, so our main character is there, and I think that's the 2 extra hands in making the film is Tata Werneck, and she's the main character. She's Kikaka, and she's sort of like she's not a biopic, but this is a very personal part because it refers to a lot of her life. She's a very famous actress in Brazil, and it has a lot of her humor and a lot of improvisation. A lot of actors improvise. So this movie, it has a lot of different views inside it because humor is very. I think humor is very personal because it contains a worldview, a political stance. I think humor is very specific. But in this film, we try to put in different characters and different scenes, different kinds of humor. Sometimes it's more crass because it's a way that a lot of people relate, and we also relate. Sometimes it's more philosophical, existential, depressed humor. So I
The
think
press humor.
yeah, totally. I think
like that
I think
definition.
I think comedians are really sad people, and they're talking. I think comedy is just a different way of talking about the difficulties in your life.
There is a classic Spanish comedian that say that there is nothing more serious than make love people.
They make people
That
laugh.
make people love.
Sure.
There is anything more
Totally.
serious than that.
Yes, yeah, and I think the question is what you're laughing about in this film, but we also made it. I think most comedies. I'm going to make a little spoiler here, but not a real one. I think it's not going to ruin the movie. No, but we made this movie from the idea that why do movies. Why do people still make happy endings? Why do they conclude 90 minutes and they try to solve all the characters' problems? And usually they do that in comedies, like they make this anarchic, nihilistic,
I think you are going too
crazy
far.
films. But in the end, they just they solve it and they say, no, it's never mind, the movie's over. So forget about everything that you saw up to here. And we said, just make a longer epilogue and everything will be wrong again. So that's the point for where we can make the movie from, also including Tata's own personal life, being a huge celebrity, but a celebrity in Brazil, which is very specific and very strange, and even more strange for you, I guess.
Yeah, well, in a way you think you are
soap operas also.
You are a Brazilian audience spectator. It's like you are adding a layer of metalinguistic because you know the actress and.
I think we're making a character. She's a new character, but a lot of the things that she lives, I think, are relatable to a lot of actors, but it's very specific Brazilian actors. But we are also putting conflicts with stalkers and nudes that are being sent out, and this whole misogynistic attack with people putting out nudes of actresses, and this all this paranoia that involves being bullied on the internet, trolling on the internet, all these things that are inside the life of a celebrity nowadays, and this state of constant sorrow and mediated sorrow. So these things I think they're specific of her life, but they're relatable to any people who just follow media in general. I mean, we have our own point of view of these people's lives. The celebrities, we have our own opinion, even though we don't know them, we barely know them. And then when we find out, like, these bizarre harassment stories, oh my God, they did this. I thought I knew this person. No, you don't know them. They're really icky person. So this is a...
Yeah, talking about the different layers of or different kind of life you can have, of reality, or social network and so on, and the origin of this character, which could be biopic or not. For me, it reminds me also. You also say out loud the name of the character, which is Kika. It reminds me from this Kika film from Almodóvar, she was actually also a media star.
Yes.
And in one of the dreams, they were dressing similarly.
Yes.
And so.
It's a bit of a
how much of Almodóvar it is in your film?
Yeah, the first draft, the character was called Carmen Laura.
Okay.
It was a homage to Carmen Laura. No, I think I love the most absurd of Almodóvar's films, and they just take you, and they're really passionate, and they're also crass, they're also very sexual and very. I think there's so many different layers to the characters. I think this movie is, if you sit with open-heartedness, you can see a lot of different layers to the characters. And I think what I love here is that, I'm a filmmaker in Brazil, and I went to film school, and I have all these ambitious projects. So when I did this film, and there was a lot inside my medium, when you do a comedy, people, while citing Woody Allen, which is not a good thing to do nowadays, he said the comedians always sit in the table with the children, which in his case also a terrible comment. But I think when you do a film in Brazil and if you do a comedy, people look like a bit, why were you doing this? So we did this as a real film, you know. I think I lost a little track of my thought, but I think here people will see it with no prejudice of it being a comedy. I think this is really interesting for me because people, they have no preconceived notion of what comedies are in Brazil, so they just see it as a pure film.
So maybe not to tell it's a comedy.
Yeah, well, it is a comedy because a comedy it's a general, it's a hardcore drama with some laughs inside.
You will suffer a lot. Maybe there is some fantasy. They go to the moon. They will see.
Yeah, no, it's a real sad drama about the condition of Brazilian celebrity. 30s.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And we're
Yeah,
doing,
in
it's
sorrow,
an
in
expo.
deep sorrow all the
Yeah,
time.
yeah, it's a tearjerker.
Yeah, yeah, it's tragic. It's tragic. Yeah, so tragic that we forgot our last guest
Yes.
talking about characters.
Yes.
We were talking about Kika, not about you.
Yeah, I
What
was
you have
happy
to
to
say
listen.
about
Yeah. Well, I agree with everything that Teo says. I'm not going to do that Ben Affleck. I agree. Then I don't know if you saw that video anyway. But yeah, but it's my character is he meets Kika's character at some point. My character is just like a loser that doesn't have any ambitions in life. He's just smoking pot all day and
Finax salesman?
He's a salesman in a store. He just doesn't want to do anything with his life, and then
It looks like a good job.
yeah, it's a good job. But he's happy in that way. So it's a kind of, it opens a bit of a discussion that because Kika, she has everything, she has ambitions, she has fame, she has money, but she's not happy. She's always pursuing something that she doesn't really know what it is, and then when they meet, something's gonna happen, I guess. But it is a depressing comedy, which is, I think, it's a
great
good thing.
achievement.
I think it's a good thing, yeah.
It's a feel-bad movie.
Yeah, feel-bad movie, yeah.
If we tag it as a depressive comedy, I think it will be more appealing for Estonians. So
Yeah.
it's fine.
I think it's a happy movie for Stone.
Okay.
Yeah, what I know of like the Nordic humor, or what I've seen in movies, I think
We
people-
still have
people
to
get
screen
it.
your film, you know?
No, but I think people have a broad sense of humor in films here, and they're really counting on it. And it's like this. It's a huge spectrum. There are some jokes that are just bodily fluid, and some are really I don't know, like low down.
We still want to arrive alive to the
Sure,
screening, so
sure.
I think we're gonna stop this here.
Of course.
And
I'm really happy to be here and happy to go tonight and happy to leave from it. No, this is really interesting for us. We're really, this is a really interesting moment and see the reaction. And please go and tell us.
Okay, obrigado. for your
Obrigado.
presence here.
Obrigado vocês.
Aita.
Aita.
For being here.
Aita.
Bad luck for tonight.
Okay.
And you are welcome to visit us and to see these two wonderful films. Thank you very much.
Gracias.
Aita.
Aita.